We are live on Mind Your Business. It's Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Facebook, where you guys at? Chime in. Show up. We're on Support District Radio, Mind Your Business. I'm your host, Shasta Broaddus. I have Terry White in the building today.
Hey, what's going on?
Let me see if I can turn it this way. There he is. Say what's up.
What's going on? How's you doing today, Facebook?
This is actually Terry's first time going live.
Yeah.
Look at us. We're breaking barriers here. Breaking barriers, get some exposure. Terry just became a member of Connect the Dots, so we want to welcome him to the squad. We want to join the network, be down, get your business acumen up, take your life to the next level. You might want to connect with us. So today we're going to be talking about entrepreneurship, for-profit, or nonprofit. What is the difference? Why do people get into, those arenas of business? That's nonprofit is a business. Are we in agreement, Terry?
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I mean, anytime you go into business for any reason, it should be to put some money in your pocket and be able to influence your community, not just be for yourself. So profit or nonprofit, for sure, absolutely. Put some money in your pocket.
Put some money in your pocket. So tell me about you, Terry. What do you got going on? What's your business? How long you been in Arizona? Talk to the people.
All right, so a little bit about myself. I grew up in California until I was about 14 or 11, 14-ish. And I grew up very poor, very, very poor. It's funny, I didn't know how poor I was until I moved to Arizona, right? So we moved to Arizona, me and my family, my mother, and, went to school, did all that, and just worked from the day I turned 16 pretty much, and then decided, I want to be an entrepreneur, so I started doing dog training. I actually started prepaid legal, multi-level marketing in high school.
Let's talk about that, because people always get into multi-level marketing as a way into entrepreneurship, right?
Right, yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I started that business when I was 18, still in high school. I hadn't even graduated yet. And I would love to say I struck it rich and made millions. However, I didn't make one sale. So
you didn't make one sale?
Not one
legal?
sale.
Not one? Wow.
No, not one. So after that, I did that for about a year. And I was like, it's not working for me. So then I started with World Financial Group, which was a financial services company. And, I did okay in that, but it was right around the time the economic downturn, and everybody was pulling their money out the market. Nobody knew what to do with their money at that point. Everybody was playing it safe. People were losing their jobs. So 19, trying to tell people about their money wasn't a good look at the time. So I just went back, started working again, and just about a year ago, I was able to quit every job I was working, do dog training full time. I still have a financial services company that I do, so just grinding, working it out.
Grinding. So a lot of people, like you, working multiple jobs, trying to figure out how to transition into their entrepreneurship. What systems did you have to... Oh, okay, Johnny, thank you. What system did you have to get into place so that you could, leave your full-time jobs to do your dog training?
It was just consistency and hard work, just being out, telling people I train dogs, making sure that I was getting my name out there, with anything, just making sure people know that, hey, I'm Terry White, I train dogs, if you know anybody.
Exposure.
Yeah, and so just...
Any techniques that you used?
Facebook, posted in the Facebook pages, those free little groups, yard sale pages, whatever, 40,000 people in one little group, you put it on there, maybe 10,000 people see you, one person tells you they're interested, and just building like that, making sure that I was disciplined and posting twice a week, and making sure I'm on time, building a solid reputation that people can trust that, and they know that when I come to train their dog, I want to do my absolute best. And that's what I built it on, just a reputation of being solid.
Let's talk about reputation.
It's worth more than silver and gold.
Because, right, relationships are currency, right? Would you agree?
Right. Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Would you agree? So with relationships being currency, reputation obviously is something that we need to pay attention to. And I know a lot of times we forget that, you know, customer service is one of those things that, you know, are important to the beginning of building a reputation, right?
Right, absolutely. What a lot of people don't know is that, like, it takes one bad review, one person to say something bad, and it can literally destroy your business because people, instead of people saying, hey, this guy's great, they're going to be looking at that one mistake you made and making a judgment on that. So,
well, I don't know if it's necessarily about the mistake. It could be the mistake, but it could also be how you dealt with the mistake.
Right, you know, but oftentimes you don't really get to tell your side of the story unless somebody really wants to know it, right? So, I've seen it where somebody in the same Facebook groups I promote in, they're like, hey, don't do business with this guy because of this reason. And you'll have 100 people say, yeah, that sounds shady. And maybe 2 like, well, let's hear your side of your story. Who won that one? The majority.
Right,
so,
right.
I mean, you can try to rectify it all you want. Just make sure that you have a solid foundation, a solid reputation, where if it's just one person,
right,
it's not a deal breaker. But if you're just starting out, you want to make sure that you're doing everything as best you can. You know?
Well, that's the thing about those Facebook groups, right? I mean, I'm working. We actually have a lawyer that's going to be on the team, Donna Williams. She is a mitigation lawyer, and essentially that's what she wants to help do. You know what I mean? Mitigate those problems, because a lot of the times it's really just lack of communication. You know, those are things that, you know, we don't really think about, but we didn't say the right, you know, words. Like we just had a misunderstanding earlier because I didn't use the right words or whatnot. And sometimes we just have to be willing to listen to the other person's side, get a clear understanding.
Right,
you know?
Right. And, you know, a lot of times you just got to be willing to take the L. And if you have to give free service, free product, whatever you do to try to get your reputation back and show the customer, hey, it was a lack of communication, but here's what I want to do to rectify the situation.
That's right.
And then after that, you know, it has to be up to that person to say, okay, something went wrong, but we were able to rectify the situation.
So I definitely agree. Reputation is important, you know, being straightforward, being intentional about your interactions. A lot of people don't realize that, but when you do come into contact people, it's for a reason. Right. And so being intentional about the interactions when you actually come into contact with people and setting your expectations.
Right,
you know?
Right. You know, communication rules the nation. You know what I mean?
I like that. Communication rules the nation. I never heard that.
Yeah.
That's
something I picked up when I was working in a prison.
In a prison?
Yeah.
Of all places.
Yeah. You know, I actually learned a lot from those people, inmates, you know, in general, just how they communicate, how they watch, how they pick up on little things that you didn't even know you were doing, you know. So they taught me a lot about communication and everything like that, and being intentional, because you might say, hey, you can't do that right now, and they might spaz out on you. But if you're clear and you're like, hey, this is what we got going on, this is why, this is what the movement is right now, I can't do it for you now, but I'll do it for you later, and you stand to that, you build that reputation as being solid. So I learned a lot from that place, man, I'll tell you, working at the prison.
That's good. Well, let's go ahead and talk about, well, this is Terry, dog trainer, financial, you know, guru. This is how we got to vibing, you know. We're in the same industry. You know, coming up, learning the different lingo. Financial services is a whole nother beast. Like, people don't even know, like, the things that we have to digest.
Right.
It's a lot. But this is what we do. We want to talk business with you guys. Right now, we're going to talk about entrepreneurship, for-profit, or nonprofit. You know, understanding that they are businesses. All 3 models are business structures. You know, and exactly why you go into each business structure and what that looks like. So back to like the MLM thing, because I posted not too long ago about this.
Right, I saw.
Is it organic entrepreneurship? What's the difference between organic entrepreneurship and an MLM?
I'd say the biggest difference is you don't have to go through the grassroots of figuring out the system and going through like a lot of the hardships of starting organically, like very in the beginning with the
creative idea.
Exactly. You don't have to do that, but I think you're an entrepreneur if you make your own schedule. Nobody's holding you to the fire. You have to be self-motivated. So I think MLM is good. I think everybody should try one, because if you can if you find something you love doing and you're able to go out and sell it, market, network, do all those things, then I think you're on your way to being a great entrepreneur. But like,
so basically, it just teaches you the skill set of entrepreneurship.
Exactly. And what I love about MLM as well is that you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself.
Well, they got you good. Look at you, got the lingo.
Yeah.
The tagline.
Yeah. So
you're in there.
Yeah. So that's what I love, the support of it. When you start a business, your family's against you, or they don't really support you like you thought they would. Your friends don't support you. You start calling friends, and they're like, "Oh, what's he trying to sell me now?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They don't get it.
Yeah. So, I think it's good because you have that support. And if you get into MLM and you realize it's really not for you, and you want to go branch out and do your own thing, well, at least you now have a foundation of what to expect.
True. That is true. Well, I looked up the definition. And the definition is entrepreneurship is one who creates a business system or a process.
Okay.
You know what I mean? From the original thought, obviously. That's entrepreneurship. I mean, obviously, anybody can buy into anybody's business. That's what corporations have been doing for decades. And, everybody's worried about a pyramid scheme, when everything essentially ends up being a pyramid.
Right.
Because we're all people and we're all extensions of each other.
Right.
So you gotta give me
something about that pyramid scheme.
Let's talk about the pyramid scheme.
Listen, you have the CEO, you have the vice president, you have the chairman, you have the managers, the supervisors, then you have the lowly employees. That's a pyramid, people. It's a pyramid. There's way more worker bees at the bottom than there are CEOs at the top. So, if you think like any MLM is a pyramid scheme and you're gonna get rich quick, then you got another thing coming, because it does not work that way. But you're in a pyramid scheme right now, whether you know it or not. If you work for a company or somebody else.
I mean, anytime you buy in, everybody who created the first model. Obviously they're going to make the most money. You know what I mean? Or maybe. You know what I mean? Unless somebody comes from behind and, the next wave perfects it or, create something in addition to it. But I just think, getting people to understand, for profit, why capitalism is a good thing right now. I talked about that last week. I don't know if you caught it or whatnot, but talking about what capitalism is and, why we need to cling on to capitalism for dear life.
Yeah. I just think it gives you an opportunity to really be self-made.
Self-made. I love that.
And it just, you don't have to depend on anybody, to provide for yourself and for your family, So if I can capitalize on my skills and my talents without having restrictions on that, why would you give that up for anything? So that's my stand on it.
So what is it? Capitalizing on your skills and your talents.
And your talents, banking on yourself.
Banking on yourself. Yeah, we learned about that, in financial services. I was like, what? Bank on yourself?
Oh man, it's so scary in the beginning to realize that it's all on you to produce. You know what I mean? It is so scary, but once you weather the storm and you get a routine and you stay disciplined, you stay true to yourself. It's panned out for me, So, it sucks when you go work for 80 hours and you still broke at the end of the day. That was crazy to me. So when I saw that I can make, it was how much did I promote? How many people did I talk to? What did I do that produced a certain level of income? You can kind of expect that and go out and do it, So I love capitalism. I love being able to be my own person, my own man, to change people's lives too. That's important. You get a certain
to change people's lives. Exactly. Yeah.
I got a certain amount of confidence and swag from being my own person. I don't have to go ask anybody, can I go to my son's basketball
game? It helps you find yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
It does.
And you really learn where your weaknesses are.
That's so true. That's so true. That is so true. Yeah, no, I always say that, since I've been an entrepreneur, it really shows you who the grown-ups are, right? Who the adults are.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Because it's just a different interaction, with people.
Right.
It's on a different level mentally,
right.
And it really brings forth people who, can communicate, or who do have true or clear intentions.
Right. You you definitely feel when somebody's desperate for a sale. You definitely feel when somebody is clearing their intentions with you and if they want to do right by you, by what they say. You know, and oftentimes I think that gets lost at a job or a company because you're not living by your model, you're living by somebody else's, you know. So yeah, when you meet somebody that's self-employed, you're gonna know their intentions right away because they just reek of it. They are who they are at that point. They're not being friendly to somebody just because they're on the phone and they're gonna get in trouble if they're not. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I think that's the biggest difference. And somebody that's self-employed versus somebody that's just like an employee. And again, there's nothing wrong with being an employee. I did it for many
It's
years.
a starting point.
Yeah, exactly. It's to help you transition, you know. In the beginning, I couldn't just train dogs and leave my family going hungry, you know, so I had to work a 9 to 5 and then do my business on the side. So I'm not coming against anybody that has a job.
You always got to put the disclaimer out.
Yeah.
You don't want nobody to be like, "Oh, you said."
Right, exactly. Then I'm going to need your mitigation lawyer. Like, that's not what I said.
I didn't mean it that way.
Right, exactly.
We have miscommunications all the time. Like I try to tell people, a lot of the time it's because of our perception, you know, of things and our patterns that we've been exposed to, or whatever the case may be, that are automatically certain words trigger, right? You know, a certain response or whatnot. I learned that at the Landmark Forum. I did a leadership conference back in December, and they talked about a lot of the mental traps that, you know, a lot of us are in, and we don't even know it. You know what I mean? Because we're interacting with the same people in the same traps. You know what I'm saying? So we don't really know what we don't know, right?
Yeah. I've been blessed to have many mentors, and one of them said 80% of our daily activity is habit. So you think about 80% of everything you said, everything you did, from the way you scratched your eyebrow to everything is 80%. So that's a lot of reconditioning. So if you're used to speaking a certain way and stuff being said, and you take it a certain way, like, but it wasn't intended that way, then that's going to cause a lot of barriers, you know. So I hear you.
Communication is key. What do you say? Communication
rules the nation.
Rules the nation.
You know what I mean?
All right, you guys, we're going to go ahead and take a break. We're here with Terry White. What's the name of your company?
So my dog training company is White Heart Canine. White Heart Canine, yep. And the financial services company that I broker for is Lifetime Financial Group. So
want to reach out to Terry, hit him up. Cool dude. Met him online. I'm meeting a lot of people online. I'm getting a lot of business and interaction online. But I like to take it to real life. You know, a lot of people stay online, and I was just telling someone today, like, we can never lose the personal touch. You know what I mean? Like, we cannot lose that. You have to meet people. You have to be willing to meet people. I mean, I don't know how else to say it.
It's just, you know, it's who we are as people to connect and really be connected towards people. Social media is great, but, you know, a lot of times it's a lot of fronting going on social media. So when you can really get to speak with somebody, see who they are, feel that energy and that connection, that's going to be your best bet to know if you want to really deal with this person or not, because, you know, you get catfish. You get catfished online.
Yeah,
you know,
get had. Anytime.
So.
Well, we're going to go ahead and take a break. We'll be back. You're just tuning in to Mind Your Business on Support District Radio. Look at Candace. Got my journal. I got this from Sugar Bag Company. Aspire, Affirm, and Achieve. You know, I'm always repping the brands. You can see Candace. She's on here watching at Archwood Exchange. She always has a booth there. Sugar Bag Company is her company. You know, I support you, girl. I need to get some more of these and some mugs. I'll get back with you guys. Thanks for tuning in.